Well, I don't know if you guys can hear me out there. If there's somebody on, I want to welcome you to day 21 uh, of the 29 days love challenge. I'm trying to figure out what's happening with the sound here. I don't know if you guys can hear me out there. Um, let's see here, see what I got going on. All right. Let's see if you guys can hear me. Uh, all right. Testing one, two, three. Let me see if I can try the intro again. I'll do an intro again. A second one. Maybe I'm on. I don't know if Monica can hear me. Let me see. Let me add Monica. Yeah,
Me?
say something.
I can hear you.
Oh, woo! I don't know what was going on, but hey, we here, and I want to welcome everybody to day 21 of 29 days love challenge. Hey, welcome back again, and let me say this to you. Let me start off with this. Right, yesterday I want to thank my good friend Gerald Hoover for popping on yesterday, and man, he did a tremendous job. And the crazy thing is, man, he added something to this 29 days, right? And in the 29 days, he said a keyword, because I've been saying a number of we've been saying a number of things over for a long time now. For now 21 days, we've been saying, just a number of things. First of all, I want to say thank you for pausing, pausing, taking a lunch break, pausing, jumping on here with us as we take a love break, right, at 12 noon, and to talk about the power of love. And want to start off with, if you don't have this book, make sure you get Joyce Meyer's Love Revolution. It is a very powerful book. When my wife was saying do this, right, first thing that came to mind was the Love Revolution. So so make sure you get that. And then number two, we've been talking about, throughout the 21 days, is this scripture, but the fruit, not fruits, but the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, self-control, and against such there is no law. And we say love is the fruit, right? And the other things are the attributes of love. I want to pick up on something that Gerald Hoover said in a minute. I'm going to pick up on it, but I want to show you the scripture here. It says, but love is patient, love is kind, it does not envy, it does not boast, it is not proud, it is not rude, it is not self-seeking, it is not easily angered, it keeps no record of wrong, it does not delight in evil, it it rejoices in truth, it always protects, it always trusts, it always hopes, and it always perseveres. Love never fails. Now, Gerald Hoover said something powerful yesterday, right? And he said, love triggers. Love is a trigger. I mean, that's a key word today, man. I want to focus on love is a trigger. So what he's saying is that if you show love, right, you trigger joy, you trigger peace, you trigger patience, you trigger kindness, you trigger goodness, you trigger faithfulness, you trigger gentleness, and you trigger self-control. That's what he's saying. Love is a trigger. Well, and we also mentioned yesterday, right, that fear is a trigger. Right. So if you're manifesting fear, you're going to trigger hatred, right? You're going to trigger anxiety and stress and pressure. Now, which one do you want? Right? That's a question. Which one do you want? Do you want love's trigger or do you want fear's trigger? Right? And so you know, I looked at it like this, right? I looked at it like this. Trigger, right? Not trigger. But even though trigger said keep calm, love trigger, right? Not that trigger, right? But trigger, right? We want to trigger love, right? And so when we trigger love, there's a response, and when you trigger fear, there's a response, right? And they both, if you they both snowball, right? Like faith and fear, right? You start a snowball down the hill, it gets bigger, 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 right? Hey, that's what you trigger. And so but if you get love down, snowball down the hill, it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. You get more patient, you get more gentle, you get more kind, right? You be more self-control, right? So yesterday we were focusing on the power, how important it is to have self-control, right? And I was looking at a couple of things in regards to self-control, and see it there goes to self-control, right? When you're in self-control, it creates balance, calmness, determination, willpower, and confidence, right? And then it also says here, a man with self-control is like a city, like a city broken into and left without walls. I mean, that's in Proverbs, right? I mean, no walls, no protection, right? If you don't have self-control. And so I want to, before, Monica, what do you think so far about let me get this out of here first. Um let's get this out of here. So Monica, what do you think about what Gerald Hoover said on yesterday about um triggers?
So what I know about triggers is that we have to be very careful with them, right? And how they can sometimes allow us to get out of character. Um, I like your comparison between Tigger and triggers, right? There's a difference. And I think that as it relates as well to what you said about self-control, it's really important to be in control of our emotions and how we respond to those triggers, right? Especially as Christians. And just people in general, right? Because I think that the ultimate goal for us as people are to just be good people, right? And know how to handle ourselves. And when we know what is right and when we know what is wrong, we should know how to handle those things accordingly.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. And it's powerful, man. See, the whole thing about the 29-day love challenge
Mhm.
is to make people aware, right? How do we make people aware that there is a difference between fear and love, right? There's a difference because if we would recognize, right, all around us, when we think about, how we live in America, and when
Mhm.
we think about waking up every day, think about what we wake up to. A question is, do we, because if we don't discipline ourselves, right, and we allow the environment, if we allow and turn on the television, right, if we wake up to the television, right, or we wake up thinking right away, man, yesterday was a terrible day, weather's going to be bad, it's going to be snowing today, oh man, who's going to win the presidency, what did this one say, right? When we wake up like that, we trigger fear, right? So, and we don't, is really nothing we can do about it, right? Because you turn on the television and the news is on, you automatically trigger fear, right?
Mhm.
So you have to be disciplined enough, right, in these 29 days, because it says it takes 21 days to change a habit,
Yeah.
right? So now we got 29 days to change a habit where we wake up to fear, right? Where we wake up to the trigger of fear. We wake up, oh shoot, it's bad outside, it's raining outside. Oh man, oh, it's Monday. Now people wake up. Used to be say, oh man, it's Monday. Oh my God. And then now we wake up Tuesday. Oh, it's Tuesday. Oh my God, it's Wednesday. And then we get to Friday. Oh my God, it's Friday.
Right.
Right. Well, we got to take the attitude of every day is Friday.
Mm-hmm.
Right. We got to wake up. We got to wake up to the trigger. We got to trigger love. And we wake up and then we trigger love every morning. But it's a conscious thing that we have to do every single day. So check this out. What do you think about, can love, right? And does love have the power to transform all that we see in the world today?
Absolutely. And I think that that ties into what you said, right? We have to be intentional with our pivot, right? And that's a big word for me. I use it all the time. You had just mentioned how every morning when we wake up, right, the news or the television, right, is a trigger, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so what can we do to transform that thinking, right? As they say, that stinking thinking that we have sometimes that happens in our mind.
Right.
Maybe the first thing that we do in the morning is not watch the news. I mean, if you want to know the weather, there's other ways to find out what the weather is. And you mentioned love, right? And so our intentions are to wake up every morning with a brand new day, right? A brand new outlook, a brand new pivot, right? And so I feel like as we grow and as we learn and as we evolve as people, as we mature, love begins to say that we are not in control, right? But God is in control of everything that's happening, depending on, what perspective you're looking at it from, right? If we're looking at it, we know that God is love, right? We don't always have to look at the negative of things. We can choose to focus on those things that are positive that are happening in the world, right? The TV has an on and off switch, just like our emotions, right? And we are in control of it. So, what stimuli you allow to put before you is a conscious decision, right? And love conquers all, right? I try to, for my own personal, right? And I'm glad that you said it because, I would think, oh, it's Monday, I got to go to work, right? I had stopped saying that. I had started to say when I got to the Bronx is when all my drama started, right? And from there, it was just downhill. But I had to change my pivot of how I looked at it, right? I thought about how grateful I am to have a job, right? How grateful I am to be pursuing this passion of mine, which is teaching, right? And just how important it is that my mindset is flexible enough to change to see it, because some people sometimes life can cause us to be stuck in like a holding pattern, and so we totally forget that we have to take the bitter with the sweet.
That's right. Yeah, you do. And here's the thing, I think scripturally it says, God will not put on us what we can't bear, but he always makes a way of escape. Now, if you can practice that, if that's
Mhm.
the practical application, right? You know, God won't put anything on us that we cannot bear, right? You say, "Oh, what? He won't." And he makes a way of escape. So, okay, now if I react to what is going on, it's going to take me longer
Mhm.
to pause and say, God said he's going to make a way of escape, right? What is that way? Right? So we go weeks, days, before that we become conscious that, oh man, God, he won't put this on. I can bear this, right? And there's a solution for this. Now, how long is it going to take us to arrive to that? So when we're talking about, man, in these 29 days, right? If we can get a few people, to start thinking about like, you know what? again, I have nothing against the news because I watch the news, right?
Mhm.
But the difference in me watching the news, right, a long time ago, I never watched the news from a fear perspective, just from an informational perspective, right? So when I wake up in the morning, my first desire is to thank God. Thank you, Lord, for waking me up, right? Whether it's hot outside, whether it's cold, whether it's sleet, rain, whatever it is, right? I just say, boom, I'm up, right? And with that framework, even if I don't, I'm thinking it in my head, with that framework, I can look at the news, because
Mhm.
I'm already grateful. I'm grateful for the day. I'm thankful for the day. And I'm already in my mind said, okay, Lord, now I'm looking for ways that I could be a blessing. I'm already blessed because I woke up.
Mhm.
Right now, what is it I'm supposed to do or be aware of that I could be a blessing to somebody, you know? And that's kind of like, but it's people or things like this that cause for me to change my mindset, and again, we can look at it from a Christian perspective, right? Or we could, it's just not for Christians, it's for people, human beings to
Mhm.
look at, can see this every day. Human beings can see there's a difference between love and fear, right?
Mhm.
Faith and hate. I mean, this is just a difference, and we get to choose them. We get to choose which one we're going to live in, you
Right.
know. So check this out right here. I want to show you this video real quick. And I want to show you, check out what we're talking about in terms of what happens, right, when somebody changes the trigger. Right. So check this out.
This week across America, the power of a hug was on full display.
They shouldn't be here. They shouldn't have to be here.
As well as solidarity. A lot can be said by simply taking a knee. In New York, California, and Washington state, violent looting was met with sympathy. Americans helped Americans pick up the pieces. And then there were those who tried to stop things from falling apart in the first place. Protesters repelled looters in Santa Monica and again in Brooklyn. At the protests in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, a little water went a long way.
I know you guys out here doing your jobs. I'm not mad at you.
In George Floyd's hometown of Houston, the police chief joined the calls for justice.
We know what? We built this country. I got news for them. We ain't going nowhere.
And in Flint, Michigan, a show of what can be achieved when the sheriff puts down his baton.
I took my helmet off and laid the batons down. Yeah. I want to make this a parade, not a protest.
Meanwhile, days after George Floyd's death, 29-year-old Sean Dromgoole went for a walk in Nashville, and 75 of his neighbors had his back.
My neighborhood is the best neighborhood.
Dromgoole had been paralyzed with fear, too afraid to walk his neighborhood. Over the years, it had become more expensive and more white. He was worried some of his neighbors would see him and call the police. He posted online, "The fear of not returning home to my family alive kept me on my front porch." His anxiety turned to astonishment, the parade of support that followed.
I love y'all. I can't wait to have y'all over for tea and cake.
In New York, a neighborhood hit hard by COVID-19 and heartache found joy in music. In Oakland, a different kind of protest movement. Meanwhile, in Washington, D.C., not far from the White House, proof we all need somebody to lean on. For today, Erin McLaughlin, NBC News.
Wow. See that?
Yeah.
It takes one person to change the trigger.
Mhm.
All that animosity, guy walks up to one of the officers and gives him a hug. I mean, one guy, they got on their knees with the officer, right? I mean, just look at all the stuff, man, that could be changed when we act out of love.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And so, one of the ways we talked about, how do we, because everybody's always looking at, the big thing that we're going to just change everything like right now. Everything's just going to change. Right. But we call this activist, random acts of kindness. My wife came up with that. She found this thing, random acts of kindness. And, it starts with one person doing an act of kindness.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Starts with one person say, I'm sorry. I forgive you. It starts with one person saying, good morning. How are you doing today? Right. Because you don't know what the person is going through. That's the power of an act of kindness or of act of gentleness or of act
Mm-hmm.
of joy. Right. Or act of self-control. Right. So have you had somebody show you of act of kindness, and have you shown an act of kindness that you could remember?
Absolutely. And so I was going to tell you one story that I did share with Patrice at one point, but I want to share a different one. So I don't know if you know Sal's Deli on
Yes.
Grambleton. I was in Sal's Deli one day, and they have a minimum that you have to spend in order to use your card. And there was a nice older lady in the store, and she went to make her purchase. And the guy told her, you can't make your purchase because you don't have at least $10 to spend. And so she was like, oh my goodness, this is what I have. So I said to her, ma'am, just let me pay for what it is that you need. And so go ahead and get whatever else it is that you think you need in the store. And she said, are you serious? And I said, I'm very serious. And she said, you going to pay for it? And I said, I absolutely am. It's my pleasure to do it for you. And these are just things that I normally do. But that one random act of kindness, right, allowed me to bless her. But then there was another guy in there who said to me, that was really nice what you did. And he said, I saw your interaction with that lady the whole time. And in return, he put something in my hand and he said, and don't give it back. Just put it in your pocket. And so, I didn't think twice about it. Normally, I'm like, no, 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 no. But he put it in my hand. I put it in my pocket. I listened. And, both of us were blessed that day because of that random act of kindness, and all it takes is just one person.
Yeah.
She must have thanked me immensely. But it was my pleasure to do it. And, I always find myself doing little things like that. Like if I see that someone is only spending like $2 for something and I know, I'll pay for it. I'm like, just add it to my thing. Or I've been in the store where somebody will be off maybe a quarter. And the person behind the counter is just giving a hard time. Well, if you don't have the quarter, and I'm just like, let me pay for it. I remember paying for something else for a man. And he said, well, give me your phone number so I can call you to give you back the money. And I was like, sir, it is not that serious. It is not that serious. I said, you go ahead and you be blessed. And it's on me. Don't worry about it. I said, you know how you can pay it back? Do it for somebody else.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I always say, man, the challenge, always this is a challenge, right? To be good. I mean, I don't know why I have to challenge somebody to be good. To challenge somebody to be kind, challenge somebody to be loving,
Right.
challenge somebody to be gentle, right? Telling somebody, man, control yourself. I mean, come on, and the thing is, this is a challenge. We're trying to change. You're trying to change a paradigm, a culture, right? The environment. I mean, we're just trying to change it through love. And two people, Mahatma Gandhi and Dr. Martin Luther King, right?
Yeah.
Both of them, ultimately lost their lives, right? trying to manifest love or trying to get people to see the importance and power of love, right? And you know, I believe like if you have enough people, man, that will join the revolution,
Mm-hmm.
if they would join the revolution and you know, just here's the crazy thing. You don't have to be crazy with this. Like, I mean, you have to get crazy with it. It just have to be enough people to just start doing good.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Just wake up saying, man, you know what? I, I'm just gonna be kind, man. I'm just gonna show love, you
Mm-hmm.
know. And you know, so I appreciate you for, you know, those acts of for kindness and that you are providing, and
Mm-hmm.
along my wife and everybody that's come on said, you know, they're doing this. So I want to strengthen something I've been saying. And, you know, one of the things on the sphere of influence, the Blueprint podcast and this, I've tried to focus around the sphere of influence, right? And one of them is media marketing, so forth and so on, right? And so what we it's going to be tough because the messaging of music and entertainment and the media, all those things are projecting 95%. I'm just using the number. 95% is projecting of around things that are not positive,
Yeah.
right? Or if you're watching a movie, it will stay negative for 95% of the movie, and then over the end they show something good, you know,
Yeah.
so my life change around. So if we can start to uh change the paradigm where we realize that, like yourself, myself, and many others that have been on here, they have been doing good, they have been showing love, but nobody's promoting that.
Mm-hmm.
Right? We need to promote good. We need to have, you know what we need to have? We need to have good news. A
Yeah.
good news station. And then at the end, they say, okay, yeah, this happened.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So any final comments before we get off here?
My final comment is I commend you for doing this. This is great. And my hope and prayer is that as you continue to challenge people, right, that eventually we won't have to challenge people, right? People will just do good because innately I believe, and I say it all the time to my students, right? Integrity is doing the right thing when nobody is watching. We
Ah,
just need to be good people all the time. And I stress that. And I teach second graders. And so sometimes I feel like I shouldn't have to, reintroduce this to children, to adults, as I do with the children. But sometimes we do because life is just lifing. But, this is a good challenge. This is a good practice. And it keeps us on our toes just to remember not only that it's in us, but God is love, and we need to
mhm.
channel that as well. So kudos to you and your wife for this, and just continuing this challenge. I hope it extends well past Love Month. Um, you know,
Well, it will, because I'm adding a segment to the Blueprint podcast every week called the Love Challenge.
awesome.
Yeah. So I want to keep it going. And I will be talking to people about it all the time, about the power of love and how do we manifest love? How do we manifest this fruit of the spirit? So again, thank you, and thank each and every one of you for jumping on, pausing, every day at 12 noon to jump on for 30 minutes, um, and to take a love break. And I'm looking forward to seeing you tomorrow. Tomorrow is the 22nd day of 29 days that we've been in this. And tomorrow is also my oldest daughter's birthday. I'm gonna have birthday to Michelle tomorrow, right? So but Monica, thank you. I appreciate you. And won't
You.
be back on until tomorrow. So check out this very, very important and powerful video that ultimately will lead to the outro. God bless you and see you tomorrow.
A.D. Williams once said, "Imagine what 7 billion humans could accomplish if we loved and respected one another." Just imagine. Imagine if there was no greed. Imagine if there was no comparison. If everyone was running their own race, but cheering for all others at the same time. Maybe we'll never see that in our lifetime. But what we all can do is start with ourselves. Start with yourself. Choose to lift others up. Choose to set the example of kindness and integrity, the example of compassion and understanding. There's a quote that says, "No matter how educated, talented, rich, or cool you believe you are, how you treat people ultimately tells all." Integrity is everything. It really is. Who you are is far more important than what you have, and it will always be. Who you are is measured by how you make others feel. Be kind to each other. In a world where you can be anything, be kind. Choose to be the change you wish to see in the world. Decide you will not wait for someone else. You will set the example. Be kind. Because you never know how much that person is suffering inside. You never know the difference your words can make, the difference your presence can make, the difference you can make to one human life. Be the reason someone believes in the goodness of humanity. Be the reason someone else decides to make a difference in others. Be the influence you want to see more of. Always do what is right, not what is easy in the moment. Kindness spreads like a virus. When you do good to another, that person does better to those they come in contact with. You really can make a big difference in the world today and every other day. Anne Frank said, "In the long run, the sharpest weapon of all is a kind and gentle spirit." No one has ever made themselves great by showing how small another is. Be kind and always build others up to the best of your ability. Treat everyone with the same level of kindness that you would like for yourself. Not because everyone is nice, but because you are. Because karma makes no mistakes. Because it is right. Because you have integrity. Because you want this world to be better when you leave than when you arrive.
This week across America.